Good morning or good day. Whatever time of the day you are joining us. Say hello in the chat. Subscribe and share if you haven't already. My name is Kelley Duren-Jones, and I am the founder and facilitator of Grace to Grow Beyond Fear, the Grace Sister Circle. Let's see, the Grace to Grow Business Center. I wear many hats, as I know you all do too, right? We all do. Wife, mom, daughter, niece, cousin, um, Grace to Grow sister, all of the things. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Say hello and share. We are on day 8. Can you believe it? It's day 8. Time is going really fast. And we're going to jump right in. So welcome. Again, welcome to day 8 of our 21-day intentional balance challenge. My name is Kelley Duren-Jones, and I am here to facilitate and share day 8 with you. If you haven't grabbed the journal, it's not too late. There's the Amazon paperback version, and there is the spiral version, and we also this year have a digital download, all found on the link to join the chat. I'm sorry, to join the challenge. It's never too late to join. We have added resources when you join. If you haven't checked your email from yesterday, there's some bonus items in there that we'll talk a little bit about. But good morning, good morning. Let's jump right into this good hot topic for today. It's something that touches every single human being. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. But let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like you're in a waiting room? You're waiting on something to come through. You're waiting for God to show up in some way. You're waiting for that elevation on your job, that elevation in your business. Have you ever felt like you were stuck in a waiting room? I felt like that recently with my Grace to Grow Business Center. I had this idea of how things were going to go in this timeline of how it would have been perfectly laid out with the vision that I know God gave me, right? But then things started happening and people started not showing up, and it didn't quite go the way I thought it would go. But how many of you know that God has a plan that we just need to be obedient to do what he said do and allow the plan to work itself. So that waiting room could be for something spiritual. It could be something for your health. You're expecting a healing. You're doing all the things. You're eating the food you need to eat. You're drinking the thing. You're taking the vitamins. You're doing all the things, but it's just not going the way you thought it would go, or maybe how you were told it would go, right? But we believe the report of the Lord, and we just have to sit still sometimes and allow Him to show us what to do, how to do it, and then be obedient to do it. Maybe we've prayed the prayers, you've done the work, or maybe you haven't. Maybe you slacked off a little bit. You got distracted from the thing, the circumstance. It's okay. Give yourself some grace. Shake it off, dance it off, cry it off, whatever you need to do, scream it off, and get back in position to where you need to be in faith and hope and do the work, whether it's scary. I facilitated a vision board event on Saturday, and we introduced our new vision experience, and it was amazing. But so I was talking to one of the ladies, and she was like, I know God is telling me to do something you said sparked something in me, and I'm just scared to do it. I just don't understand how it could work out. And I explained to her how I felt with some of the things that I needed to do and that I'm still doing. I felt like I was going downstairs, and each step I couldn't see the step. Like, I was like, you want me to put my foot down, I'm tumble on down these stairs, or God gonna catch me, right? But that's a scary feeling. And so it's not that um you are crazy for feeling scared or wrong for not doing the thing, just jumping out and doing it, because some people can jump and some people can't. But once you get used to jumping and you know something is going to catch you because it's caught you all these times, you're just like, okay, I'm jumping because I know on the other side is where my healing is. Okay, I'm stepping on that invisible step because I know God gonna show up and show out when I don't see the step or I don't feel the step. And going by what we see and what we feel is not what gets us to the promise that God has for us, right? You've been faithful, you've been hopeful. Maybe you need to increase that. Let's start today. Forget about what happened, what you didn't do, what you did do. Start from today, start fresh, and say, just God, I trust you. Keep saying it out loud till you believe it, till you feel it in your heart. Because sometimes it's scary, right? But those feelings don't warrant you to be able to not move, to not grow, to not get out of that comfort zone and do what God is telling you to do. Or the thing that you know you should do. Sometimes we can get deep. I'm waiting on God. You know what you're supposed to do. You know there's some things that we're waiting on God and we're asking Him for discernment. But what are the things you know you should do to increase your life right now? What you're putting in and on your body, how you're studying your word, how you're sitting still. What's your prayer life like? What's your gratitude life like? What's your giving life like? Not talking about just money, because money is a part, but what is your giving life like? That's a part of this journey. It's a whole pie. If one piece is rotten, who eating the pie? Not me. And it's easy to fall into that um waiting room space where you're just tired, you're just exhausted, you want it right now. But can you handle it right now? If God gave you what you're praying for right now, how would you steward it? Would you be a good steward of it? If He gave you that bigger house, just if it's a thing, how are you stewarding the house that you're in? You need a better car. How are you stewarding the car that you're in? You're looking for a better relationship. How are you stewarding the relationships that you have now? You want a better job. How are you stewarding your job right now? And it's always work to do. There's always room to get better. If you agree, say yes, yes in the chat. Because we live in this world of instant gratification. We want everything fast. We want our food fast. We want our even if we're cooking it ourselves, we're trying to figure out what machine can I get to make this cook faster. We want our healing fast. We want our finances to be cleared out faster. But if you had all the money that you would like to have, your dollar amount that you need, that you want to have to live the life that you want to live, how would you steward that money if you don't have a balance sheet right now? If you're not keeping track of your money right now, if you're not using your resources positively, what would you do with more of it? What would you do if you actually lost that weight? Like, would you continue to eat the way you eat and gain the weight all back? What if you actually was healed from diabetes? Would you change your lifestyle so that you won't get sick again? It's just some questions we need to ask ourselves. What position do we need to put ourselves in? What work do we need to do to be able to walk in what we know we want and what we know what God has for us? That 24 hours that everybody has. Have you ever, encountered someone or looked at someone and like, how do they do all that? Like, how do you get all of that done? I have a friend that is a entrepreneur. She has about 5 businesses, and I'm not exaggerating. And she's a single mom. She has a fiance. She does a lot with her parent, her mom, and she manages it all. And they're all different kind of businesses, kind of under a couple different umbrellas. But I was like, how do you show up in these and still show up for people? How do you do all that? And when she broke it all down to me, how she's a stickler with a plan and a calendar, and when things start getting heavy, after big events, she takes this, trip or this time away or this break where she's unavailable. Like, people who manage things well, we need to pay attention so that we can learn some tips from them, right? Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. So there is no excuse why we can't get what we need done, except for we're not managing our time well. And sometimes, like I said, when we're asking God for something, we're like, God, when? When? I'm ready. But are you really ready? Are you really ready to steward what you're asking for? You are not alone in any of those instances. Sometimes also we feel like we're alone. Like, I'm so tired, my schedule is full. And different seasons may look different because of circumstances. And you have to learn to give yourself some grace, pull back, stand still, and pivot with your schedule that you created. Pivot with that plan that you had. Because for example, when COVID happened, the people that didn't pivot, they got lost in the sauce. Churches was like, I don't know how to get online. People was like, I don't know how to use, I don't want to use Zoom, you know, couldn't do this, wouldn't do that. They kind of got lost in the sauce because some people kept going, and it was actually outside of the trauma of it. People made money, people started businesses, people were doing things. We have to learn to pivot, and we have to lean in and stop going by our feelings and what we see, and go by what we know God has for us. So today's topic is embracing God's timing. I spent a large part of my life being impatient, and maybe some people can agree. I'm learning to not go by what I think should be happening, but just making a plan, sticking to it, being obedient to myself and to God, to learn how to operate and have well spent time. I live by my calendar now. So on my phone, I love a written. Can't I still, I'm a paper girl. So I have my calendar that I write in. I have my phone. I have the one for the bedroom for me and my husband. I have one at the office. I have calendars everywhere. And without them, I would, miss a lot of things because now my phone alerts me. I look at it the night before, like what's on the schedule. I try to pick a day, mostly Sunday evenings or Saturday evenings, to write out the schedule for the week. Because if you don't give your time an assignment, someone else will make an assignment for your time. If you do not give your time an assignment, someone else will make an assignment for your time. Someone else, something else. Have you ever just not told somebody, people, when you were off that day, like, I need a day off for real, so I'm not gonna tell nobody I'm off. Am I the only one to do that? Schedule time off in secret, because this is the only way I can really just leave that time blank, especially that time that you need to sit still and do nothing. Anybody else have nothing days? When I learned, that was hard for me. When I learned to do that, I was like, oh, because I felt guilty. Like, I know I should be doing this, and that, but you need that time to regroup, to plan the week, whatever it is. I was frustrated and disappointed a lot when you're just in that waiting room, be like, oh, when is this is going to happen? When is that going to happen? But that waiting room should actually be a time of peace, because while you're in that waiting, there's things happening. You should be learning, you should be growing, not complaining and frustrated. And that's a choice that we make, right? I felt like I needed to figure everything out. Not asking God, or not asking God for discernment, but I was jumping into things. I remember when I first started my coaching program and I was learning and I was looking for mentors. This lady that I have been watching had this amazing looking program. I reached out to her and we had a Zoom call, and her program was way out of my league for price wise. But she said, you know what? I'm gonna pull you in. I'm gonna give you this resource, because I see what you're doing, and I see you doing this and that. And so I was so excited, and I waited for the email, and I waited for the email, and it never came. I reached out to her. She never responded. And I was like, what did I do? Like, what did she see? Because she said she was going to look deeper into it. She just blocked me. I was like, what in the world? About a year later, I saw her online, and she had changed her program, and she was a full blown witch, and was proud of it, and was just saying all kind of things against the Bible. And I was just like, oh my. So sometimes in our waiting, when we start trying to make our own way, grasping for things, pulling in people, pulling in things, taking classes you don't need to take, taking certifications because you're not, you feel like you're not enough and you need something to validate you. All of these things I was doing. And I thank God for his protection and his provision, because who knows what kind of things I would have encountered joining her program, signing on, touching and agreeing with her, not knowing, never asked, never looked into her background, never looked at it. I don't even know if that was even apparent then, but I was just like, thank you, God, because I was really disappointed, and I felt like I had been set back. We started making up stuff because we're going from our own feelings and our own mind. Today's scripture is Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. This isn't just a nice sentiment that's in the Bible. It's a foundational truth. Do y'all agree with that? Like, God operates on um, a timetable that we will never understand. Not one human can really understand God's timing except for it's not like ours. So one key point I wanted to share today is there's purpose in the waiting. There's purpose in that waiting room, right? Waiting is not just wasted time, um, irritation, all the negative things that we tie to it. It's preparation time. Like I said, think about it like seed time and harvest. When you put the seed in the ground, and I love gardening these days, and it's almost time. Anybody else happy about that? But it's like seed and harvest time principle. You can't get a harvest the day you plant a seed. If you do, something is really crazy going on. When you plant the seed, and if you're like me, you're looking at it every day, like, I don't see nothing yet. Oh, I see a little something. And then different seeds take different amount of times, different amount of care. Um, how you plant the seed and what you plant the seed in. Some go deeper, some go on the surface. That's just like life. And you have to know when to pivot, when to when something is growing that's not actually coming from the seed. I remember I planted these seeds and I was like, ooh, it's growing. And then this big old weed thing grew. I still don't know what happened to the seed. And I was like, oh, it was actually kind of pretty. And then I Googled it like this, but it don't look like what I planted. And it was something that they said, get out immediately. Put a bag over it before you pull it out, because it shakes off seeds and it'll kill everything in around it. And when I pulled it out, I had to pull it out with all my might. It grew so fast, and it was the root was so strong. And that's what happens sometimes when we're not walking in obedience under the will of God. The wrong thing will start growing, and you might not even know it till it's too late. That takes me back to that witch story. I could have just like begged and forced my way in, and that would have been a big root that may have ruined my whole garden. You can't see it happening all the time. It's underground. You just have to believe that it's working for your good, right? Another thing I want to share is a higher perspective. Our impatience almost comes and just gives you a limited perspective. You want it so fast, you're just grasping at anything, right? it gets all tangled up sometimes, and then we forget the vision. We've even started something else. Is instead of waiting, and in that waiting, allowing yourself to see what God is doing, that beauty in the flower growing. Romans 8:28 says that He works all things together for the good. So we need to just learn how to wait. Trusting God often means not knowing what's going to happen. Like I said, we can't see the stair, but it's His timing and His discernment that He gives us on what seeds to plant while we're waiting, because you should be doing some work while you're waiting. So while the seed is germinating and the root is growing, you have to water it, you have to pluck those weeds, sometimes you have to put something on top of it to protect it from the birds and the squirrels or whatever. So there's work that you have to do in the waiting, and it means living by discernment. That quiet revelation that God gives you, those feelings, you get that feeling like I shouldn't be here. Something is not right in this grocery store. Let me get out of here. Things like that, like discernment. You meet somebody and you like, they seem nice. They got a pretty smile, but I'm getting something that I shouldn't be connecting myself to this person, this organization, this job, um, this product, whatever it is, this thing I'm eating, this whatever. God, listen to your body, listen to those signs, and actively trust Him. So this is day 8. I hope that you receive the blessing through God's timing, and maybe you'll sit down and make a plan today, right? Your action step for today. Well, your prompt is, what's your prompt? Your prompt is to sit down and have an honest conversation with God. In what area of your life are you struggling most with timing? Is it your personal life? Is it your time that you need to spend with Him? Because that's one thing that we need to make sure that we're doing. Right? Write it out. List your frustrations. Get them out. If you're impatient, if you're tired of waiting, if you're tired of being in pain, those are real things, right? We're not going to discount the real things, but we're also not going to discount that you have to wait. And sometimes God is waiting on us. So don't forget that part. But write it out, pour it out into the page. You know, this is part of our heart posture that we're working on, is our timing with Him, our timing with ourselves, and how we're managing our time for our life. The action step outside of your journaling is to um, sit still. Do your best to sit still for 5 minutes, not in your head planning your grocery list, not you know, thinking out a plan, or just try to sit still and just empty out your thoughts to God. Like, it's not praying out loud, but just releasing. Um and then after that, pray. God, just I trust you to give me discernment with my time of what I need to do, to give me a plan where I'm not only using my time wisely for me or at work, but I'm using it wisely for time to sit with you. Um, and just learning to get in the healthy habit of sitting still. That was hard for me, as much as I like myself and to be by myself. My mind is always going. In my mind, I'm making a plan, or I'm thinking about something I could start or stop, or my mind never just shut down to just really sit and listen and hear from God. Not with music on, and not any of those things. So thank you for showing up for day 8. If you signed up for actually signed up for the challenge, Then check your email for day 7. There were some free bonuses in there, the mental health assessment, and along with the video to help you with that. And I also gave you another digital download bonus for implementing rest, which we talked about on day 7. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody for day 9. Share and make sure you subscribe so you're getting all the content, and have a wonderful day. Remember to show up, be intentional, and expect great things.